When is the worst time to get horny? Right at the end of a haircut. Right before you have to get up out of the chair. Grandma's house. It just feels wrong. When you want to break up with a significant other. In school, especially if you're the teacher. When getting severely reprimanded by the principal or a professor. In the locker room shower with the guys after gym. When you're among other people and wear pants that are not jeans. Public speaking. Not at all for the standing boner problems. It's the mood. All of a sudden you have to worry about all those possible Freudian slips in the presentation. And whoever suggested a million years ago to picture the audience in their underwear obviously didn't think it through because the stunning woman in the third row is totally not wearing a bra. What was I talking about? Right. Good old slide 3. My favorite slide. Lots of good stuff on old slide number 3. When your sister is in the room. When Borat's daughter removes your microphone. On the bus when you have been asleep the entire ride and wake up with a boner and now you have to get off and join the crowd of people. Working as a kindergarten teacher. Right next to your best friend. Realistically any time outside of a sexual context, having a leaky glory hole or a Jehovah's stiffness isn't exactly pleasant. From the looks of it, most of the comments are using the question as a substitute for when's the worst time to get a boner? And you aren't wrong, but being horny is a mood and you don't necessarily have to be hard or wet to be hungry. Having said that and sounding like a know-it-all douche, the worst time I would want to be horny is when I need to get something finished like homework or a project since it massively distracts me. 1 minute before you have to get up to present your product roadmap in a boardroom packed with C-level folks. When you and your spouse are driving in the car and the kids are in the back. Being a mall Santa when a really hot mom brings her kid and sits him in your lap. Kid, mommy. The pogo stick I asked for is in Santa's lap. Ultrasound on your balls. I had one recently and was not even close to getting a stiffy but I couldn't help but think how awkward that would be. You telling me that there's times when you're not? Right after your husband has masturbated. While competing in a don't get horny competition. While burying the body, or is it the best time? During a pap smear. Church service is bad as well. Looking at my stepsister getting undressed. I would say funeral but people always get horny at funerals for some ducked reason so I'ma go with baptizing ceremony. When you get a hug and they are close enough to feel it. Is it too soon to say on a Zoom call? It sucked just earlier today. Was in the doctor's office and got a boner. Right at the time they needed to look at my D for something. In the military or on a track and field team when you're wearing the mini uber light material short shorts. If you're a guy at least. Story time. During the peak of rollerblading at my school, late 90s or early 2000s, they brought in this PT skater teacher whom was quite a hot girl. During a break a friend attempted to do a jump and fell pretty bad. I'm not sure if he was unconscious or not, but she went on top of him to make sure he was alright. He then proceeded to get an erection while half of the school was watching at this happening. During an argument, all of a sudden the brain kicks into neutral and the drive starts doing all the negotiating. So many terrible compromises. Points needlessly conceded at the hope of kinky sex that somehow never happens. Holding grandma's hand while she is on her deathbed. When around kids and wearing clothes that make it impossible to hide a boner like in a Spider-Man costume because the mom bent over and you're a teenager so. Hormones. You know. Traumatic. But I wouldn't know about this stuff. Mr. Murphy, do you want to come work out this math problem on the board? No, that's okay. I'll take the 0. When your husband can't get in the mood because you're pregnant and he can't dissociate the baby from you. When passing out candy to trick or treaters. Your daughter's dance recital. When it's your sister's funeral and not stepsister, sister. When the doctor is holding your D during the checkup. Middle of a long car ride with your parents. When both your arms are broken. When you're at the orthodontist and you're laying down completely flat and someone is working on your braces. If you get a boner, you might as well scream I am horny. It's so evident. When you are a journalist for the NY Times during an online conference. When you are working as a Santa in the nearest mall. Well, according to recent events, during a Zoom call at work. In a hotel room right next to your mom and grandma. There is only one, and that is at an elementary school. After meeting Borat's daughter. When you are visiting a dead person's grave. Holding your sister's hand at an abortion clinic. While working as a mall Santa. High school gym class at the pool. When you are comforting your best friend for the death of a relative and your body decides to send blood to that area. At Thanksgiving, or any other family gathering. Wrestling tournaments. It sucks because then everyone thinks you're gay. Sure, my opponent forfeited and I won, but at what cost? Apparently, in the middle of a New Yorker meeting. In the middle of a surgery. Pretty sure it's when you work for CNN and are on a Zoom call. I got a hard on in 8th grade as I was called up to do my presentation on the Holocaust. While doing a speech in front of others. During teaching in kindergarten. When you have to carpool with friends, there isn't enough space so someone has to sit on your lap. Suddenly you're very aware of how bumpy every ducking road is. Just when you're starting to fall asleep. On the bus ride when you're going to prison. While at the shallow end of a pool teaching a kid how to swim. About 4 years ago when I was 12, a 4-year-old child sat on my lap and I randomly got a boner. I pulled myself together by multiplying numbers in my head. While giving presentation. Judging from a post I saw earlier. Probably after you've spilled boiling hot dog juice on YOD. While hugging a family member. While identifying a body at the morgue. At your significant other's house and there's nieces nephews running around everywhere. When the teacher calls you to do something. When you shower with your mom. While you're wearing a cup. At funerals when saying your goodbyes. On the bus in 7th grade. I know you saw Wendy. When the torturer says he'll cut your D in small pieces. During church. When you go up to drink the wine and eat the bread and stuff. When teacher calls you go to the desk. When your love dies and you lap. We had a horrible car accident and I pulled her out and she ended up dying on my lap and I may have had a boner. Being in the same room as your high school principal. When you're in a hot tub with those great jets and you have your leg up all ready to have it tickle your girly parts and your best friend is indoors and could come back outside at any moment. When your step siblings get stuck. When your wife is not, and she is walking around in short shorts or yoga pants. When you're chaperoning a kid's field trip. When you're a doctor performing euthanasia on a terminally ill patient. His wife wasn't too happy when I asked if she was ready for the single life and what she was up to after it.